All right. Hey there. Good morning, everybody. Chris Brinks with Texas West Capital coming at y'all live here just after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Friday, the 17th of January, 2025, just a few days before Trump's inauguration. And I'm trying something new. You guys know I live stream and then I multicast with this, right? So you can watch me from Twitch or YouTube or X or Facebook. And Instagram's got a couple extra steps, so I'm trying it for the first time on Instagram here. So hopefully it'll go all right. If you're on Instagram and you're watching this and you feel up to it, leave me a comment real quick to let me know that it is doing all right there. We'll see how this works. Anyway, so good to have y'all joining me. Hopefully you've had a great week. If you're in at Texas West Capital over at our trading academy, in the Traders Club there, you know that at the end of last week, I said we would likely have at least a bounce starting the beginning of this week, if not, some a rally higher. And so far, we've rallied on through the whole thing. We've rallied on, through this entire week. And so the question is there a breakout imminent? Do we have a breakout coming, or are you wrong to be long? Are you wrong to be long stocks, Bitcoin, crypto, and whatnot? So that's kind of the question here. Let me see here. Bamboo. Yeah, man. Hey, listen, I replied to you about the DM thing. Send me an email, man. Look for the reply. I'm having some sort of issue with my DMs. I'm not getting all of them through. So I couldn't find yours. So go ahead and just send me an email to the email address I posted there in the reply to your post there in the Trading Academy, man. Sorry about that. I don't know. We're just having a few issues. It seems like it's mostly with me. I don't know if it's because I'm the host of the platform or whatever. But we had that, and then we have another issue with the notifications for a specific event that we have a couple of times a week that they're in the process of trying to fix as well. So there should be a reply. See, this doesn't make any sense. There should be a reply in there. I don't know. It's got to be something on, with my logging into it or something that's being an issue, but no Discord, man, no Discord. We used to run Discord, and then we found it was way too easy for scammers to get in there. And I ended up spending a lot of time and resources trying to keep the scammers out and dealing with all that. And it just wasn't worth it. It was so stupid. It just wasted way too much time and energy with that. But anyway, no platform that can handle that excellence. You guys are great. Always good to see you guys here. Excuse me. So today we're going to look at some charts I've got here, of course. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at stock indexes. We're going to look at the small caps. We're going to look at gold. We're going to look at the DXY, XRP, Litecoin, PayPal, different ones here, kind of looking at where we were, where we've been, where we are, where we're headed, and checking it out. So a lot of potential trades this week if you guys have been paying attention. I keep telling you guys, listen, don't keep sitting here stressing out over about when alt season. There's been multiple alt seasons, sector specific throughout the last year. There's been multiple times that you could have made some good money with alts. And if you're just waiting for alt season, you're completely just missing the point. Again, there's been so many opportunities to make such great money. If you've been following us, XRP was a no-brainer. I've been, I update that one daily in the Trading Academy. And, we've been looking for this, the local, or the bigger triangle to kind of complete and everything to head up and do what it's been doing. And so no surprises there. Gold doing what we were looking for it to do again. And we got the triangle here. No surprise there. DXY, a little bit different. Again, we'll look at that. But I think that may be done at this point here. We need a little confirmation. But, again, looking for patterns. And so, I'll get a lot of responses when I say something like, okay, we're going to break out or not. And the typical response is a very clunky way of looking at trading, at charts, but it works, right? And if you're not very adept at trading and very adept at understanding markets and whatnot, clunky sometimes is the best way to go. You will not get you will not get the lowest price. You will not get the highest price. But the secret to being a successful trader is to lock in profits consistently. And I say this over and over and over and all the time to our students, because it goes against what you normally think, right? Normally we think, okay, when you first come in as a trader, you think, man, I got to get the absolute lowest price. And if I don't, then I messed up. I have to sell at the absolute highest price. And if I don't, I left money on the table, messed up, right? But that's exactly why you're losing money day after day after day. Okay. And I'm telling you from a personal, again, I've been doing this for about 30 years now. I'm telling you, I still remember when I first started. And that was the reason why, it was one of the reasons why I was losing so much money, was because I had just this erroneous thought process about what it meant to trade and what it meant to be a trader and how you were supposed to approach it. The key to being a successful trader is to consistently lock in profits. How many times have you guys had profit? And if you tell me zero, I know for a fact you're lying. But how many times have you had a profit and you've been like, oh man, and maybe it was at your target, maybe not, but you've been in profit and you've been like, oh my gosh, it might go up here a little bit higher, so I don't want to get out, right? And then it turns against you and it comes down and you can't convince yourself to get out. And you usually end up getting out at a loss after you've had a profit. How many times does that happen? Here's the thing. If you're honest with yourself and you think about how often it's happened, because I can promise you that I know it's happened many, many times for you, right? If you look at all those times and said, if I had just taken profit, where would I be today? Well, you'd be a hell of a lot further than where you are. Yeah, quite a bit. Exactly. It's crazy the way that when we first come into trading, how we view the markets and how we view trading, and we get all sucked up into this is going to be easy. I'm going to be a millionaire overnight. It's going to be so easy to turn this $100 into $1 million next week kind of thing, right? But that is completely the opposite of the way you should be as a trader. And that's why we end up losing so much money. And we're out usually within 3 months. We've lost everything. And often we've put in more. It's kind of like you go to Vegas and you play the slots over there and you run through all your money and you go to the ATM and you pull out more, you play some more slots and you lose all that and you go and you pull some more. And then finally you're just at the point, well, crap, I don't have any more money to do. Right? See, that's the issue. But we don't ever, we rarely kind of stop and look at ourselves and go, well, hell, I'm causing my own issue here. It's because of me that I'm not making money here. I'm my own worst enemy. Wall Street is not manipulating me. Crypto whales are not manipulating me, right? I'm manipulating myself. I am my own worst enemy. I am the only person in the market that I'm trading against. That's it. Now, you're going to get people to tell you trading is a zero-sum game. Somebody has to lose, somebody has to win. Let me ask you this. If you get into a trade and your target is 2R and you hit your target, okay, and you exit, but price continues going in the direction of your trade. When you exit, did you lose? Are you a loser? And the person who got in a winner? No. You hit your target. You ended up in profit. Even if you didn't hit your target and you got out, you ended up in profit. You did not lose. Trading is not a zero-sum game because everybody's coming into the market at a different time with a different view and with different targets. If you're making a profit and you exit in profit, you did not lose. If you enter a trade and you're using your risk management properly and a proper stop loss, right? And it hits your stop loss. Yes, you lost some money on that trade, but you didn't lose, right? Because trading is not about the single trade you take. It is about the system that you employ. It is about working on that system. And the sooner you recognize that, the sooner you understand that, the sooner you're going to start seeing more profitability and more consistency in your trading. Focus on the system, and the profits will take care of themselves. If you sit there and focus on the profits, you miss the forest for the trees. It's always an issue. You're always in turmoil. You're always stressed out. And that's going to cause you to lose money. Okay, guys? Again, I don't ever tell people what they want to hear, or I guess rarely ever tell people what they want to hear. It's always what they need to hear. I've been doing this a long time, and there's a lot of realities in trading that we don't understand when we first come in that we have to make peace with. For instance, you're going to lose money. From time to time, you are. And the newer you are, the more money you will lose and the more often you will lose it, which is why I always tell you risk management is the most important part of trading. It is the only thing you control. How much you lose is all you control. You don't control whether the market goes up or down. I don't control whether the market goes up and down. We don't do that. All we can control is how much do we lose if it goes against us. And when you start from that point, rather than how much profit can I make, you start understanding what trading really is. It's all about risk management, period. That is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And if you do it well enough, you'll get profits, right? That's the key. That's the key. Okay, guys? Now, if you don't know all this, there you go. I'm telling you right now. What I'm telling you right now is worth its weight in gold. If you accept it, you take it in, and you start trading accordingly to that. Okay? Because all of you that are here, if you've been in the market, I know you've been in multiple times in positions where you've had profit, and sometimes probably some really good profit, and you didn't take the profit. And price came back against you. Sometimes really quickly. Sometimes, especially if you're doing the shit coins in crypto, quick, fast, in a hurry, right? But other times, it's kind of slow coming back, but there's a whole mental, a whole emotional side to it, right? So when you make that profit, even though you're in profit like this, right? And it starts coming against you, instead of thinking I'm this much in profit and I should get out with this much in profit, you're thinking, oh, well, I'm losing this much, because you're going from where you were, where you should have gotten out, right? So you're focused mentally and emotionally on that little bit that you're down from where you were, rather than on the rest of this where you're actually in profit. And it keeps you from getting out. You keep saying things like, and tell me if you've said this before, oh God, I swear, I promise, if only you'll get me back up there to where I was, I will exit. I will take my profit. How many times have you guys said that, or some variation of that? And then when it gets there, what do? The occasional few times that it actually does do that, what do? You don't take profit, because you get back up there and you feel okay again now. And emotionally, you're like, whew, that's over. Now we're going to go up. And then it doesn't, right? Or it goes up just a tad bit, and then it shoots down, right? And so the thing is, you are stuck there constantly with what happened just most recent, rather than where you are really. And that's what happens when you focus on a single trade. When you sit there and you're always just focused on the trade you're taking, rather than working on the system that you're using. Does that make sense? Let's see here. Yeah. Look at you guys. You know what I'm talking about. And I laugh about it because how do I know this? Because I did the same thing. It was many, many years ago, but I did the same thing. And it was traumatic enough that I still remember it today. It's crazy how that works, isn't it? By the way, before we jump into the charts here, guys, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, hit the like, share the video, share the link wherever you happen to be. I see a few people are joining in on Instagram. Again, this is my first time actually streaming there. So, hopefully it'll continue working well. And then of course we got people here, it looks like on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch as well, and X. So good to see everybody coming up everywhere that I'm kind of streaming this app. Just trying to make it easier for y'all, right? A lot of people get on here. you got to understand, I'm different than most of the people that you're going to find out there within this trading kind of area. Most of them are out there trying to build their audience so they can monetize them via the platforms, right? X, get your, your replies and all these things. YouTube, get your views and all that. Me, I'm just trying to get out in front of you where it's most comfortable and easiest for you to view and to check in and, to do it. Because again, I always say, listen, if you're taking time out of your day to watch what I'm talking about here, I take it really seriously and I try and teach you something. Whether you ever join us at the Trading Academy or not, if I'm here and you're tuned in, I'm going to try and teach you something. Most of the time, that's going to be the things that most people don't talk about because either they don't understand it or they don't even know that it's happening, right? And this is the emotional and psychological side of it. For those of you that don't know, one of my degrees, I got a stupid amount of degrees, but one of them is I've got a master's in applied economic psychology. And so I use that with my 3 decades of trading experience and what's going on there to kind of really do my best to help you guys understand, these things that I'm saying, right? Because these emotional, these psychological points that I'm making are often much stronger indicators of whether or not you will be successful over time. Anybody can learn how to do Elliott wave. Anybody can learn how to do Wyckoff. Anybody can learn how to do any version of price action, right? These are just rules and guidelines. We can memorize them. We can practice them. But if you don't understand what's going on in your mind and your emotions, not just yours, but other traders in the market and everything, then you're going to ignore the rules and guidelines. You're not going to take profit when you should. You're not going to put a stop loss where it should be. You're not going to use proper risk management. And all those things are going to lead to you being unsuccessful as a trader. And then you'll be really upset and you'll leave and you'll be like, oh, again, Walmart, Wall Street, crypto whales, they were all against me. They cheated me out of my money. And really, it was just you and your lack of doing the things you needed to do and understanding what you needed to understand, right? You wouldn't go, ladies, gentlemen, neither one of y'all would go join, we'll keep this U.S. centric, right? The New York Giants offensive line, if you didn't understand how to play football, and if you didn't have the practice, and of course, if you didn't have the size, right? But let's say size was out of it. If you didn't know what you were doing, you wouldn't be jumping in there, right? Because you'd get hurt. But y'all do this every day when you come into trading, right? You're like, oh, well, I can put the money in. I'm over 18. I can do the trading legally, so I can do it. But you don't have the practice. You don't have the understanding. You have none of that. And then you get upset and you say, oh, it's everybody else's fault. No, it's your fault for coming in without the proper understanding and the proper practice that you need. But the good thing about that is once you're honest about it and you recognize this and you're honest with yourself about it, you can correct the mistake. As long as you continue to blame others for the things that happen in your life, you can never get beyond it. And so when you're looking at trading, how can you expect to make money consistently in trading if you don't take the responsibility for the actions that you're taking, right? I see people all the time online, oh, I followed this person and I did what they did with the trade and I lost money. It's their fault. No, it's your fault. There are no guarantees in trading other than you're going to lose money from time to time. And the newer you are, the more money you're going to lose and the more often you're going to lose it. That's the only reality there. The only thing you control is how much you lose. Does this make sense, guys? So this is really, again, a lot of what these guys get. We've got a lot of students I see over here kind of talking in here. But they'll tell you this is the stuff I sprinkle in all throughout everything we do there. Whether like Frank here, he says, we have weekly sessions. So on Mondays, we do Wyckoff session. On Wednesdays, we do price action. And on Thursdays, we do Elliott wave. So Frank says, really enjoyed the Elliott wave session. Well worth a look for those who missed it. And so what I did was not only did I go over a few charts, but I really got into this thing I'm doing kind of right here, where I started talking about, listen, if you're going to approach trading, this is how you approach it. These are the things you have to be honest with yourself about. And it's okay if you choose this over that, but you have to be honest with yourself about it, because if you don't, it's going to affect how successful you can be as a trader. And that's the thing, right? We do these things constantly. We do these things constantly that make it worse for us as traders. We have complete control over it, but we don't recognize what we're doing. And so I spend a lot of time talking about this. So don't think it's just something I happen to do here. And I'll be honest with you, if it irritates you that I talk about this stuff here, I'm probably not the right place for you to come pay attention to trading at this point in your life. When you recognize, when you start really listening to this stuff, though, that's when you're going to know you're really ready to potentially, get serious about trading. I talk about it often, that people, as human beings, we tend to lie to ourselves and others. We always say, oh, we're doing, I really want to do this thing. I really want to. But we're lying to ourselves, right? Or I'm really trying at this, but we're not. We're kind of half-assing it, right? Yeah, I'm Gen X. Half-assing is a word I grew up being told by my dad, and other Gen X fathers, boomer fathers of us Gen Xers at the time. But it really is a real thing. If you're honest with yourself and you step back, look at the things you say all the time. Look at the things you say that you're doing or you're really trying hard at, and then see, are you really? Because most of the time you aren't. Most of the time, where you should be practicing that thing, you're choosing to do something else. You're scrolling on social media, doing something else. If you want to be successful, it does have a formula. Cecilia is a success coach that's been with us for last year, and she has made this really clear to some of our students here, which is that success has a formula, right? Here's a way to do it. And it's not any different to be successful at trading as it is to be successful at a professional sport, as it is to be successful at a musical instrument, or whatever it is that you want to be successful at, auto mechanics, anything, right? But it does require, at least for a while, for you to make the choice that is the most important thing at that time. Which means you forego other things. Maybe you forego going out drinking with your friends on Friday and Saturdays. Most people aren't willing to forego that. They'll say, yeah, I'm serious about it. I'm going to do it. They'll spend about 5 minutes a day trying to learn to trade. And they'll say, I'm serious about it. And then they'll come back with, oh, well, I'm busy. Well, we're all busy. You need to decide what's most important to you. And maybe it's not trading, and that is okay. But it's important that you recognize it so you don't waste money trying to do it while you're lying to yourself. You see what I'm getting at here? Anyway, this was bigger. I don't want to go off on this big rant here, but that was part of the bigger kind of thing we were talking about during yesterday's LA Wave session. Usually our sessions are an hour, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But yesterday, like I said, it went almost an hour and a half with the LA Wave because we had a lot of this I was, kind of delving into and kind of really explaining out there. Because it's important. It's important. And I did that knowing full well that somebody who's with us on a monthly basis may decide, you know what? I really don't want to do trading. I listen to that. It makes a lot of sense. And obviously I'm not really serious about it at this moment. So I'm going to leave. And then we would lose money. But that's because to me, it's most important that if you're serious about trading, you're serious about trading. Because if you are, I'll bend over backwards to help you out. I'll put as much, and you can ask these guys that are in here. Some of them have been with us for years. I will bend over backwards to help you out if you're truly serious about it. But I can't do it for you, and you have to be honest with yourself about whether you really are serious about it. Okay? So I'm not the guy out there blowing smoke up your rear end like everybody else out there to get you to follow me, to get you to jump in, whatever. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear so that you can make an honest decision about what you really want to do. Because I don't want you wasting money. It's okay if you find out, listen, I really don't want to be a trader. That's okay. Now you've got your money that you can spend and do things. You can do things with your family or friends and create memories. That's fantastic. But if you're serious about it, it's going to take effort. It's going to take commitment. It's going to take focus, discipline, right? Patience, commitment. And it may be 6 months. It may be 12 months. It won't be forever, but it's going to be. It needs to be. Just like any other thing you really, truly learn. You're not going to learn trading in 5 minutes a day. I don't care what anybody else out there tells you. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen. You're not going to become a success at trading using somebody's special indicator. And that's it. And not understanding what's going on with markets. Okay. But we think you can because that's what we want to hear, because we don't really want to put the effort in. And that's where we kind of screw ourselves when we're out there. So hopefully, if you've never really thought about this, hopefully it gives you something to think about. I'm not trying to push you out of trading. I'm just trying to be realistic with you and say, listen, if you're not really serious about it, then it's better for you if you don't pursue it right now. Maybe you become serious about it next year or something. Maybe it's 10 years down the road. Maybe you never do. But at least you're not wasting your money in the markets and educational other stuff that you're not really putting any effort into. Okay? All right. Let me see here. Peter says, what? The alpha is outstanding. That's worth the price of admission. Everything else is bonus. Sarang. I always feel like I'm saying your name wrong, man. And I know you've told me before I've said it right, but then I always question myself, am I saying it right next time? So as always, I apologize if I butcher your name. But he says, I joined TWC mostly for daily analysis. I don't day trade, but I need Chris's analysis to know where we are in the market. It helps me, what'd you say? It helps me not wet my pants with every drop. Yeah, that's the idea. Okay. Let me see here. All right. I am see. Sarang just said, listen, you are saying it right. So there we go. But anyway, so listen, guys, just a little bit of a reality check with trading for you. Nobody else out there is going to do this, guys. Okay. My commitment when I started TWC, our trading academy 7.5 years ago, was to take what I had learned in over 20 years and, kind of come from that point and go, if I was starting today, what do I need to know? And then I'd be like, okay, as well as what would I like to know about trading and things in general. And that's how we developed. And we've continued to, to develop more and more since then. Again, a lot of our focus now is on how and why markets move the way they do. So it's understanding that emotional and psychological side. It's understanding how it displays itself via volume and price action on the chart, so that you can understand what's going on with the market. Because the more you know, the less you're going to FOMO or you're going to FUD out of your trades, right? The more you understand about where you likely are and what's likely going on with the thing, the better you are. So let's go ahead and bring this up here. So here's Bitcoin, right? Remember what I said about the more you understand about where you are and what's going on, the less likely you are to FUD out, right? It's out here. Look at this right here. So this is our multi-week range here we have on Bitcoin, right? Look at this Monday candle right here. Your favorite guy to hate from CNBC, Mr. Jim Cramer, almost to the minute down here, posted a tweet that said something along the lines of, "Oh my God, this is such a washout. Things are really going to get bad now." Basically, was what he said. Not in so many words, but that's what he said. What have we had? Bitcoin is up 15, 16% since then. Since 9 a.m. on Monday there. Oh, we're up almost 18% now. We'll look at the indexes in a minute. They're up like 4 and 5% since then. Okay. Was I freaking out here? No, I spent weeks while we've been going sideways here telling you guys, and of course explaining, with our three times updated daily Bitcoin analysis, that this appeared to be reaccumulation. And I explained why with the volume and the price action, everything else going on. We talked about Elliott wave, where we likely were in terms of that. There was absolutely no reason here. This was all but expected right here. At this point here, where we kept coming down here to get this, what we would call a spring on this range. You can also call it a bullish SFP. It's a wick down and close below the swing low and close back above the swing low. This is like a $7,000 range here on Monday. And the close is only like $5 or $10 above where it opened. That's a huge point to note. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and that just led into what we've got going on here, right? Now, again, as I said, when I put titles like this show here and I say, is it time to, to break out, or are we going to, are you wrong to be long? Most people will look at this and go, okay, well, we're still range bound here, so I don't think it's going to break out. And they'll look at what happened previous to this week's bounce. With, like I said, we'll look at the index here in a minute on the stock indexes, and let's say, oh, but I don't think that's going to break out, so we're going to fall down further. So understand this: when it comes to trading, okay, when it comes to trading, what happens is there are a multitude of different ways to do technical analysis. We're not even talking about fundamental analysis, okay? We're talking about technical analysis. What you'll often see is people saying, oh, technical analysis doesn't work. Or it's astrology for market guys, right? Stupid stuff like that, right? Because they saw somebody do it wrong, or somebody who did it right, but you're never going to get it 100% correct, right? And they didn't get it right. And they'll be like, for instance, Elliott Wave, they'll say, oh, well, Elliott Wave is useless because you can make it say anything you want. You can make anything say anything you want. This is the thing you guys have to understand. Okay? If you follow the rules and the guidelines, like for Elliott Wave, for instance, right, and you do not stray from them, more often than not, it's going to be more correct than wrong. Now, that doesn't mean you're always going to identify it correctly, and you may get a little ahead of yourself. But technical analysis is not this thing where you do it one day and you say, okay, on the chart, this is what's going on, period, end of sentence. You watch it develop, and maybe you're correct. Maybe you're not correct. Maybe you're on the lines of being correct, but not exactly the way you have it. That's what technical analysis is. Okay? And people tell you technical analysis doesn't work. Well, I did not see one fundamental person get even half the number of bottoms correct that I did over the last few years. And I've done them live here. Everything from Bitcoin to Ethereum to PayPal to Square to, I don't even know all of them, guys. If you've been following me, you know, right? We've been there. I use technicals now. I don't listen to the deliveries and the misses and all these fundamental, or worried about the jobs. I can tell you what these things will probably mean in terms of where we are in the chart, but I don't do fundamental analysis because you don't have to, which should be a big whoo to y'all, because fundamental analysis is a difficult thing. I'm not going to lie. The more you understand about accounting and macroeconomics and stuff like that, the more you can understand about it, but it doesn't mean you're going to be that much more correct. Right? I mean, look at everybody that's confused because the 10-year has gone up about 100 basis points since September when the Fed started lowering the Fed rate. Oh my God, what's going on? If you ever believe the Fed actually controls things, since September should have told you otherwise. But look what's happening now. Right now, everybody's jumping on the rates are going to continue to shoot up through 5% and just continue going. The JPM, I think it was, or Goldman's, I think it was JPM, said that the DXY is going to go up at least another 5%. We know that hedge funds are the longest against the longest dollar that they've been since 2019. Everybody tends to crowd in at the end of a trade. And you can sit here and you've probably been told a lot, oh, well, smart money and dumb money, right? If you're retail, you're dumb money. At the end of the day, everybody herds, right? Retail tends to herd together, which is what they mean by dumb money, right? But your hedge funds tend to herd. Your money managers tend to herd. Why? Because if they do what everybody else, what the other money managers are doing, and they all lose money, well, then they all lost money. They just did what everybody else was doing. If they do something different and they lose money, they're really bad, right? Everybody herds. There's all the groups herd in trading. But if you understand that whether the market overall goes up or down is based on social mood, how does the aggregate of those involved in the market feel? How do they feel? If you understand that's where it starts from, and the quickest and fastest way to know how they feel is whether price is going up or not, because their quickest way they can do it is by putting money in or pulling money out of the market. That starts you up on your way to understanding markets. Now, this is the same thing. You know, Fibbo trades a different way than me, right? But he comes from the exact same understanding. We start at the exact same point. We just technically wise, we look at the charts a little bit differently. But if you guys watch us, most of the time our targets end up pretty close to each other. But both of us start from that same understanding that what's happening to you and me and business owners and you know, all these other people out there, right? In the aggregate is what drives the markets overall. You can get a knee-jerk reaction off economic news, but economic news does not set the trend. The trend is usually already established. It might give you extra oomph in the trend, or it might give you a temporary pullback in the trend, but the trend's already established. Okay? Okay. Peter says, I'm waiting for Chris to be right about the DXY versus the Euro. The discussion on Gary Cardone's show was wild. Yeah. It's you know, and we're going to look at it here in just a minute. So what are we looking at here? Well, so we've got this nice rally up, right? Normally what happens when you have an accumulation range or reaccumulation range like this is that price will come off. If you've got a spring here, it'll come off that spring up into the resistance, and that'll print 5 waves up. So it'll be your first wave off the swing low. Then you'll pull back in 3 waves, usually within the top half of the range. It would be a wave 2, and then your wave 3 is the breakout. And in terms of Elliott wave, or in terms of Wyckoff, this is our creek where all this supply is. That's going to be our jump across the creek. That's where you get the big candle and the big volume, the breakout. Okay? It's the third wave in Elliott wave. It's the participation wave. It's where everybody realizes, oh, crap, I need to not be short. I need to be long. I was wrong. It wasn't a dead cat bounce. And things jump up, right? So right now, I'm looking for this idea that we might potentially continue up here. This is the daily chart here. And we have this nice supply structure up here. So I'm looking at potentially pushing it up a bit further into, what is the low end of that? 106, 123 on this chart, up to maybe 107, 221, maybe that area right there. Here's the thing. If we do that, 3 waves back, 50%, pulls us right back to the daily pivot. We'd like to see that. You break out through the pivot, you retest, you rally up around the R1 pivot, in this case a little bit above. That finishes your 5 waves up. You pull back to the pivot, and then you go. This is the kind of stuff I teach all the time at the Trading Academy. A whole bunch of stuff like this. Here's the thing. So 2 ways to look at targets on the breakout, okay? One is based on the height of this pullback here, of the largest point of this wave 4 pullback, we've got a pattern target of $122,080. And this is on the, by the way, this is the Bitcoin USD, the Bitcoin all-time index, okay? But if we can get a 1 up to the EQ of this blue range and then a 2 pullback to the daily pivot, that's actually going to give us 5 waves up to 141,320 without any overextensions. So this 5 of 3 may be at 122,080, or it may even push up here to 141,320. So right now we're watching to see if we can get this rejection here and this pullback to get us a 1 and a 2 and 3, 4, and 5 up here. And as I said, that's just going to be, I'm sorry, 5 of 3 here, right? Or up here. You get a 4, then you get a 5 up, and so it continues to push up. And if we get a blow off top, instead of 170, 180,000, we could potentially be looking at 200,000 plus. Okay. If we get that. So we're way far away from that right now. Right now, locally, it's been a great rally, and we'll see how this goes here. Let me see here. What'd you say, Scott, there? We need more sessions like this. This is the kind of knowledge that levels the playing field. It really is. It really is. Most people aren't ready to hear it. And I understand that. So I don't ever take any offense to it. But most people aren't ready to hear it, because it means that they have to be honest with themselves. And as human beings, we don't really like to be honest with ourselves. We would rather make ourselves feel good, which is why the victim mentality has become so big in every area of our life. And government, kind of says it's okay, you can be a victim. And society says it's okay, you can be a victim. It's everybody else's fault. It's rich people's fault. It's white people's fault. It's black people's fault. People are always blaming everybody else. But we always have a responsibility in the decisions we make. We don't have a responsibility in decisions somebody else makes that harm us, but it's our choices along the way that put us in that position at that time. One of the greatest analogies I love to use is, let's say you're walking down the street on the sidewalk, okay? We all live in areas, we know what sidewalks are, right? So let's say you're walking down the street on a sidewalk, and you're walking down, and somebody's driving their car coming up behind you, and for whatever reason, they veer off the road onto the sidewalk and they hit you. Most people at that point say, oh my God, it's all their fault. And that's it. They never go beyond that. And so when they get hurt with something that becomes terminal, or something that at least becomes a long-time injury, right? They can't get out of it. It's always in their head. Oh, it was their fault. They did it, right? So they could never get beyond that. What you have to understand is the reason you were walking down the sidewalk on that day at that time is a culmination of the decisions you have made in your life up to that point. You put yourself there. So you have responsibility in being at that point at that time. It isn't your fault that they hit you, but your responsibility lies in the fact that you ended up at that point, at that time, to where that did happen. And here's the thing: when you actually understand that, and you start taking responsibility for it, you understand that it happened, because maybe they just had a heart attack, and that's why they went off. Maybe they were like that idiot in New Orleans who purposely was trying to ram people, right? That's only part of the story. I would argue probably the bigger part of the story is the decisions that you've made in your life that have led you to that point in time. And if you can't do that, if you can't, say that that's what's happening, I do have that responsibility in that, then you're going to forever be focused on what they did and how they wronged you, and you will never be able to move beyond. Okay? And I'm telling you right now, you are the biggest, not just in trading, but in everything. You are the biggest reason why you have difficulty or why you have failures in life. But once you understand what I'm saying right now, once you really understand this, then you forgive yourself. You're no longer a victim. You understand that, making decisions has consequences. And they're not always that you directly harm yourself. Sometimes you put yourself in the way of harm. And that's part of life, because life is not guaranteed to be simple or easy or to keep you out of trouble. Things happen. We can't control other people, but we can control ourselves. We can't control what they do, but we can control our response to it. And I talk about life. This is what I do a lot, because anything that I talk about as far as trading goes is applicable to the rest of your life. It's not something by itself. There's no magic trading mentality. But the more you get into this, the more you understand this, the more you practice this, the better your trading gets and the better the rest of your life gets. Because you start applying these same principles and these same ideas and these same understandings to everything else that's going on in your life. And it is very freeing, guys. It is very freeing. Once you understand that you are responsible for the issues in your life and that you didn't do it, purposely, but it just happens, right? Decisions are decisions. They have consequences. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're not so good. Then you can forgive yourself. And when you forgive yourself for the decisions you've made, for the situation that you're in, all of a sudden you stop focusing on that past and you can start looking forward to the future, and you can make the changes and the corrections you need to make so you don't keep making the same mistakes. Why is that important in trading? Because as long as you're out there and you say, oh, I lost money here because this guy I was following online said, that he thinks it's good to go long here and take profit right there. Well, as long as you consider see that his fault, you can't change anything, right? Because you don't have any responsibility. So how can you change anything? But when you recognize that you ultimately made the decision, that you made that decision to take that trade, especially if you don't know anything about risk management, especially if you don't know how markets move the way they do, whatever, especially if you don't understand why that person was really looking at that target and how they were analyzing it, right? Once you recognize that you took that trade without that stuff, well, now you can go, okay, so I made a mistake. Mistakes are fine. We learn from mistakes. We have to learn from mistakes. Now I need to know. Now I know next time I need to learn more about proper risk management. I need to understand why they're looking at that target and not. And if I don't, maybe I shouldn't take that trade. Maybe I shouldn't just jump into a boiling vat of oil completely naked, right? So just some thoughts on there, guys, okay? Because it really is. I keep telling you, the issues we have are because of us. They're not because of everybody else. They're because of us. And life is so much easier when we understand that and we start practicing that understanding, okay? Let me see here. Let's look at some other charts here. Jojo says, do you remember buying or signing up for something and then being disappointed? I have, and joining teams. Oh, okay. It was not one of those regrets. Love it here, man. Glad to have you here, man. Jojo's just been with us a bit. He's newer, one of our newer students. Sats has been with us, quite a while. Andrew's been with us a decent bit. And so you get a good influx of people that some have been with a long time. Some of us are just getting started. But you always find out, who's really paying attention, who's really ready to learn. And if they are, they find a lot of value in what we do. But again, that's why I went over that whole thing on yesterday during the Ellie Wave session, about understanding, what you're really looking for. Because trading may not be it. You may think you want to, but trading may not be it. And if it's not, don't waste money on it. Okay, guys? All right. So anyway, here we are. We'll see if we can get this a little bit push up here, a little bit higher. The count's kind of muddled in here. So basically what I'm looking for is if we can get this push up here and a pull back to this pivot. My assumption is going to be that that's a 1 here or a 1 a little bit higher and then a 2 on this pullback, which gets us then a 3 up here around that 131, 132 area up there. Okay. Let's jump in real quick on the indexes here. So the first one is the NDX, which is the NASDAQ 100. The second one is the SPY, the S&P here. And the third one's the Dow Jones, okay? Again, for those that are with us at the Trading Academy, they go over these every night in the market wrap that I do for you guys. They look like they're a WXY correction, all three of them, okay? And the NDX here bounced off the S1 pivot Monday. That was when Kramer was like, "Oh, it's all going to hell in a handbasket," right? Same thing with the SPY, bounced off here, right? The Dow ended up, it didn't quite get down to the S1 pivot, and these are all on the daily here. But this is a strong thing, right? I teach pivots as well. I've got a standalone pivots course, which if you're really open to understanding pivots, it probably changing your trading like huge, no matter how you trade. Yeah, because you can do it by itself, or you can use it with Elliott Wave, you can use it with Wyckoff, you can use it with price action. Just takes understanding it. The green lines are the 50 MA, the blue lines are the 100 MA, and the red lines are the 200 MA. Okay. So again, NASDAQ here, dropping around the 100 MA, busting out through the 50, pull back to the 50, breaking out of the descending resistance and the daily pivot. We like that. S&P here, same idea. Now you're going to go, okay, well, it dropped below the 100. It did, but look, it dropped below and closed back up. So the pivot, or the 100 MA is said to have held this support. And then it rallied on up into the 50 through the daily pivot, pulled back to the daily pivot, bounced out through the resistance and above the 50. The Dow, again, we already talked about this. It's the weekly pivot was closer here on the Dow than it was, as you can see here, on the other two. But nonetheless, ABC down, ABC here looks like a WXY. It dropped through the 100, gapped up through the 100 and the descending resistance, rallied up into the pivot, pulled back, gapped up through the pivot today, and trying to push through the 50 MA here. So what I'm looking at is, if these WXYs are correct, that swing high, that X, is where we need to get through to signal that we're going to go to a new all-time high. So on the NDX right here, on the NASDAQ 100, that means we've got to get above, and we didn't do it today, probably won't today. We got to get above 21,703.49. If we can do that, the odds are significant that we're going to go to a new all-time high. On the SPY, it's up here at 602.48. We're getting pretty close to that. We're at 599, 602. We're like 3 points away, right? The Dow, it did it. It broke out above it. So my belief is the Dow is probably bottomed. I'm going to head up. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to head up exactly straight up from here. We've had a good week. We've had a great rally. Again, so far off that Monday low, the NDX here up 4.5%. The SPY here is up about 4.10%. And the Dow here is up 4.3%. So we've had good rallies this week. I could see a pullback next week, at least at the beginning half of the week, if not the full week, right after, you kind of, it's almost like that buy the rumor, sell the news. So you buy into Trump's inauguration, and then you're getting all up there, and then you got to pull back, right? So I could see us potentially pulling back next week, at least the first half of the week, if not the full week, but then we continue higher. I think we're probably bottomed down these pullbacks, but again, we do need the breakouts above these wave X's here to kind of signal, okay, yeah, to give us some confirmation there, okay? Crypto Dad says the pivots course is awesome. Thank you so much for saying. I appreciate that. Those of you that don't know, I traded just pivot. I've learned so much over the last 30 years, right? I chose to become a student of trading and markets. And so from right around 2011, right around that area, for about 2 years, all I did was trade pivots to get this understanding of it. And that's what I kind of put together in that course. It's not a simple regurgitation of what everybody else says online. It's here are the pivots. Here are the different types of pivots. Here's where you'd likely use these different types. And here's how you can use them with things like moving averages, with things like Elliott Wave, with things like Wyckoff, stuff like that, to see how you can implement them in with your other trading as well, instead of just use them by yourself. Murray agrees there about pivots are amazing, says that's all I use. It's everybody out there's got these really complicated strategies and whatever. And pivots, if you understand what you're doing, just like volume price action analysis, right? You don't really need anything else. You can trade them just like that. Yeah. You guys don't have to matter of fact, if you're getting overly technical, you're probably doing a bit too much. Take a step back, right? Now we teach a lot. I teach a lot at the Academy because I use Elliott Wave and Wyckoff and price action to help you understand how and why markets move the way they do and how to understand that, how to identify it, how to project or forecast price action, right? So it takes upfront, it takes some studying and some learning, some practicing. But once you go through all that, then you're left with, okay, so what are my entry models? What am I looking at to do? And if I look at the market here real quick and I just pull up a chart and I don't know what's going on, and the first time I've looked at it, can I identify what's maybe likely going on, if it's even worth it? Or can I identify that, you know what, this is a bunch of crap going on here. I just need to go ahead and go on a different chart. Because a lot of y'all waste too much time trying to force a trade, trying to force some kind of analysis on a really crappy chart. Don't do that. I teach our students all the time. Go for the low-hanging fruit. You don't get extra points as a trader for taking a really, really difficult trade and getting it right. Matter of fact, if I was to grade you, I would deduct points because you want to learn how to trade successfully. And trading successfully, part of that is just paying attention to the easy charts. Look for the stuff that are pretty easy to identify right up when you first pull it up, and then get in there and go, okay, yeah, that's more like that. Don't sit here and struggle with the stuff that's going sideways and whatever, could be whatever else. It's not worth it. There's too many other charts out there that you can trade and make money with. That's the goal of trading, is to make money, not to do really difficult trades and hopefully get them right. Does that make sense? Let me see here. Oh, yeah, thank you, Pivot. Thank you, Murray. My Pivot, of course, is amazing. Pivots alone. I didn't mean to call you Pivots there. Chris says, quick random question on price action and the Fisher indicator for larger time frame moves. Do you prefer looking at the 3-day and 5-day? It seems like the weekly time frame lags just a bit. Yeah, usually it'll be like the 3-day. I don't usually make a whole lot. Guys, listen, there's a lot of people that use a lot of different weird kind of time frames, right? Basically, I'm going to stick with like the 1, the 2, the 5, the 15, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, the 3-day, the weekly, the monthly. Those are basically my main time frames. Every once in a while, I may jump on a 2 hour, especially if I'm doing Elliott Wave and it's not really clear between the 1 and the 4 hour what may be going on. But yeah, usually I won't use things like a 5-day or like a 13-hour, kind of thing. Some people do that stuff. And if it works for them, great for them. People that are trading that are moving the markets are going to look at just these same ones I just spoke about. The ones that are moving markets aren't really paying attention to the 5-day. And so if your goal is to make money, is to understand what the big players are doing, the ones that are actually moving the market, right? And to trade with them. So I just tend to stick with those. Yeah. So let me see here. I like the 79-minute. You're a mess. So yeah, hopefully it helps you out, Chris. Yeah, I would look at the 3-day. I mean, I don't have a problem looking at the weekly, but like you said, it tends to lag a bit on the weekly. But again, if you're looking at the weekly, you're trading the weekly. So you're going to have a lot, the larger your time frame, the more fudge room you're going to have, right? The more bounce area you have. And so when you think of it that way, the bit of lag it has on the weekly, kind of makes sense. But yeah, I'll generally go up to like around the 3-day or so on that. Okay. You're welcome. For sure thing. So anyway, so yeah, stocks are looking good, guys. Here's my other one. So this is, oh man, I love this. Oh, wait, no, you know what? Let me jump over here. Look at this real quick. Let's jump these to the weekly, these 3 here. Okay. Look at these. Look at these weekly candles, folks. Almost an outside bar bullish engulfing candle here for this week on the NDX. Huge bullish outside bar bullish engulfing candle on the SPY. Even huger. It's the hugerest outside bar bullish engulfing candle here on the Dow. So these are big moves up this week with this. Again, kind of giving more to that idea that there's a good chance that low may be in, right? Look at where we pulled back here on the weekly. Look at the NDX. See this previous all-time high here? And then we got stopped again there. And then we got support there. Support here. There's no surprise it bounced there, right? On the SPY here, same thing. Resistance, support, support. There's no surprise it bounced there. Again, here on the Dow, not quite the same, but definitely there is a support area down there. Look at this right over here on the week of September 23rd. Wick, larger wick there. Good sized wick, decent wick. What this is telling you something, right? So a lot of people get on here and they ignore wicks. They think, oh, it's all that matters is the candle body. No. It's another thing I really focus on a lot at the Trading Academy is helping you understand how to read the candles with the wicks, and especially if there's volume associated with it. These wicks are telling you that there is a ton of demand sitting here. And it continues to hold this support, including right here. I mean, look at this. Little wick down into this area here, same kind of low we got right in this area. And then boom, big move out, big move up. So significant, right? So these are things that you want to, really learn to pay attention to, because they're going to change. Again, no matter how you trade, when you come over here, you're going to learn Elliott Wave. You're going to learn Wyckoff, but you may not ever trade Elliott Wave or Wyckoff. But what you're going to pick up is what's important, is the understanding of humans and how they buy and sell, how they act and react, how their fear and greed works, because it's not random. If it is, this stuff wouldn't be working all the time. And I show you year after year, but no 7.5 years, almost the whole time live here, right? It doesn't, it works consistently, right? It's not random. But yeah, so, you're going to learn those things as tools to help you understand how and why markets move the way they do and how to forecast where that next movement may be. Okay. Does that make sense? On these, could I see a move up to the R1 pivot and back to the pivot? Yeah, potentially. I mean, I would definitely see these heading up toward the R1 pivots next. I would definitely see that as the next place. Now, at that point, does it reject and come back to the pivot? We'll have to see. I don't have a bigger count going on these at the moment, so I don't really have a frame of reference. But I would see that their next target up is going to be around those R1 pivot areas. So, this is the weekly, so it's not going to happen tomorrow. But, the NDX is around 23,354. The SPY is around 640, 641 or so there. The Dow is up here around 46. So, yeah, I would definitely look at that as most likely the next kind of generalized target area that it would be headed to. But we would have to see what's going on there at that point to see if we just get a push up through it and continue. Now, if we see a nice impulsive breakout and rally through those R1 pivots, that's a good indication we may rally all the way up to the R4 or the R5. But again, we'll have to play this out as it happens there to see how it's playing out there. IWM, guys. You guys have been following me since at least since October of 2023. I've been banging the drum about small caps. Okay. So back then we had this, and I had been talking about this likely being, accumulation here. And then we started this move down, and I said, we're over here, and I said, well, if we get that dip on down there and we pull back up in there, that's going to print us a spring here, and you're going to want to be long the next day, or even the next week if you want to wait for the week, right? Sure enough, we rallied up. What was that, about 50%? 50% rally that was the end of August, like October 31st, when we got this dip down here that week of 2023. And this was the week of November 25th, 2024. So basically 13 months, a 50% rally on the IWM. Insane, guys. That's a lot of movements, a lot of quick movement. So, it's been good. I think we've got a 1, 2, and then a 1 and a 2 here. This is 3 waves back again with the IWM, the same as the other ones we were just looking at. Basically getting this bullish engulfing outside bar here. And it's doing it on the weekly pivot, on support. So this, to me, this is a huge setup here. And we're breaking down, we're trying to break down below or break out above this previous swing high. We pull back 61.8%, low volume node, basically almost the top of the triangle here. I mean, if I'm looking at that, I'm going, okay, well, there's a 1, 2, and then here's a 1, 2. So this gives us 3 up here around the R3 pivot at 306. And then 5 of 3, 1, 2, 3 up here at around 340, 360. And then we get a 4, and then we get a 5 up higher there, probably closer to around 400 to get us 5 waves up off this spring down here from October of 2023. Okay. Let me see here. So yeah. So this was absolutely great call here. I'm still very, very bullish about small caps. And here's the thing. You've got everybody talking about the economy and, fake numbers and this and that. If you want to understand how the economy is most likely doing, watch your small caps, watch the IWM. Or if you're going to trade it, trade the RTY. That's the futures for the IWM here, which is the Russell 2000. IWM is the Russell 2000 ETF. RTY is the futures of the Russell 2000, okay? But, here's the thing. This is a good move, right? And we've likely got a lot more good move. By the way, we also have this hidden bullish divergence on the weekly RSI here from this wave 2 to this interior wave 2. So lower lows on the oscillator, higher lows in price. Like I said, bullish engulfing outside bar, that hidden bullish divergence on support at the weekly pivot at the low volume node. I mean, everything is screaming this should go up higher overall. And by the way, stochastic RSI has crossed bullishly and is heading up toward it, looking like it wants to break out there. So I think we've got a lot future. But what I was trying to say was, if you want to know how the economy is really doing, watch the IWM, watch the RTY, because small businesses, okay, which is what this is, right? The Russell 2000, it's your small caps businesses. They're much more affected and much more quickly by interest rates, by economic performance that's going on with the country, stuff like that. So you can scream at me all year long last year the economy was looking like crap and doing terribly, even though the numbers didn't show that. But you didn't want to believe the numbers. You wanted to believe government was lying to you and whatever, right? Small caps rallied 50% in that year, 13 months. So just another, kind of a hint, a way to look at things. If you're ever getting confused about all the it goes on about the economy out there, okay? Let me see here. Gold. Gold been talking about for a while. Triangle played out. We're above wave D. Most likely it's complete. Breaking out above wave B here at 27.61 and 30 cents. We'll add confidence to the count based on the height of this triangle. We have a pattern target of 29.75. Now, that doesn't mean it has to get there or that it can't go higher. Pattern targets based on the height of a pullback are just like a general kind of where things usually end up. But it's not a guarantee every time. It's a guideline, not a rule. Price does not have to reach it. Price does not have to stop at it. But it gives you a target to go long and look toward it, and then you can dissect what's going on as it's moving up. So if you're doing Elliott wave, you can get in here and start reading the wave count and, where's your 1 and your 2, and does that give us 5 up there, or does it break out much higher? But basically, we're looking at a target of that $3,000 area. Okay. Let me see here. DXY. Let's zoom out to the weekly. So the ideal here is we've got an A or an A and a B, or a 1 and a 2. Okay. If it's an A and a B and we're getting rejected around this area, we should probably head down around 90, 93. for wave C, the DXY, okay? So this here, this 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here is what it appears to be. Looks to be a flat correction. So it's all, again, it's all either ABC for a B or ABC for wave 2. We stopped just shy of my target up here at 10.256. We got rejected just prior to that. So we can go down here a little bit more. What we're looking for here is we're looking for a break, especially an impulsive breakdown and close of a daily candle below this ascending support. So this is ascending support's coming off, kind of this swing low down here around September 30th of 24. And then this swing low around December 6th of 24. Daily candle impulsively breaking down and closing below that's going to be the first kind of thing that says, okay, well, wave 2 it's their first warning that wave 2 may be complete or wave B may be complete. If we were to break out higher here, based on the height of the pullback, that would potentially give us a 111.162 target, which is just prior to that weekly R1 pivot. But the first thing we need is this impulsive breakdown and close below that level. Once we're through that, we're really kind of looking, whatever the daily pivot is. So this month, that daily pivot's sitting there right around 107.5, 107.51. A daily candle close, especially impulsively below that, will start giving some steam to the idea that wave 2 is complete or wave B is complete and we're heading down. Once we're through that, your next target area is this 105.42, this swing low. Next target area is the 103.373, that swing low. And then, of course, if we are breaking down below this swing low down here at 100.157, that's going to be all she wrote, obviously. And we're headed down toward at least 90 to 93 on that move down. Again, I mentioned that hedge funds are the longest, the dollar they've been since 2019. It's a crowding thing, right? And often that kind of tells you where those reversals are happening. If you were following me back here, if you were following me back here at January of 2021, you'll remember I talked about this likely being the low. And I mentioned at the time that longs were so far off sides against shorts and that the market tends to punish the people that are far off sides. And at this point, it was like almost everybody and their grandmother was short. Markets don't work like that. You're on a downtrend. It's been a good downtrend. Almost everybody's short down there. It's got to go up. And so at that time, I said, it's likely this is the bottom here. And if it is, we probably have a 114 to 115 target. And of course, as you know, we went up here to 114.778. So that was a pretty good call down there. And we got that move. Once here, I said a pull back to the 100 and then to continue lower. And of course, we did ultimately get down here to 99.578. So I've got a pretty good track record, but we've got to see this rejection here now and come down. We have to see that coming down now. This is going to invalidate if we break out above that swing high, and then we're looking like 123, probably something like that. But then that would likely be the wave 5 at that point. And then we'd be looking for a big pullback. But I really think we get the rejection here. And if you're the one that believes in the whole idea of, what's going on with the dollar is going to directly affect, what goes on with risk on or risk off assets, and you think that 2025 is going to see risk assets continue up like stocks and Bitcoin, well, then you would kind of expect the rejection for the dollar to weaken against the other currencies for U.S. stocks, crypto stuff like that to head up, potentially, ushering in some more QE, some more liquidity, which is ultimately what drives market, if you guys don't know. The risk-on assets are driven by liquidity. They've been so since 91, 93 is when they really started to take hold. Ultimately, risk assets go higher because more liquidity is introduced into the system. Does that make sense? So looking good there. Oh, real quick here, PayPal. PayPal is this great one. So I did on Twitter, at the time it was Twitter, if you guys follow me, right? This day, you can look it up. I think the tweet's still there. It should be. I don't really erase it. But this day, it looks like it's October 26th, somewhere right around there, the 25th or the 26th. I said that we could potentially see it heading down to 45, but the odds are likely that we were at a bottom area. And sure enough, I think it was the 26th, that Thursday, because then the Friday was the low. And had you looked to buy then, you'd be up. Well, prices rallied so far off that low. We're about to break out above this current swing high up here. But it rallied up about 86.3%. So huge rally up from that. Going up here, I've got a wave 5 of 3 target based on the height of the pullback here. Again, a pattern target up there around 101.5 or so. So we'll see how this counts coming out. But look at this beautiful breakout of the descending wedge, descending channel here. So, again, bounced at the S1 pivot at support on the channel, rallied up, gapped up, pulled back, broke out, pulled back, tested it, gapped up again today, pushing up higher, trying to break out. So ultimately, I think we're at least 101.65 on this wave 5 of 3. But if we're getting us a wave 1 completion here, we get a wave 2 on the pullback, it's likely to head higher than that. But again, this is what I was saying over the last few years. If you haven't been following, if you're new to following me, I have called a ton of these lows. Again, Square, PayPal, Hood. We talked about Hood at around $7. We all went long about that point. God, so many. I don't even remember them all anymore. I did some of them on Scott's show. I did a lot just on my X account, which was Twitter at the time. But anyway, between, crypto and stocks. And this is when everybody else, of course, was saying, no, it's going to continue going lower, blah, blah, blah. So there is something to what I teach, because I teach you exactly the same stuff I use every day, guys. I don't like hide it. I don't like go, oh, I'm going to teach you all this little stuff and I'm going to keep the best stuff for me. No, at the Trading Academy, I teach it all. I throw it all out there for you guys. PLTR, yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? PLTR was another. Andrew's reminding me, because some of these Andrew and I were talking about at the lows when they happened. So, and that was before Andrew ever joined us. Andrew's one of those guys that kind of followed me online, came into my streams every week, for probably a couple of years or something. And then one day he just jumped in and he decided to join the academy and just absolutely soaked it all in, became amazing. And so now he's one of our head traders. So yeah. It's just more of that. Listen, guys, Andrew will tell you he's nothing special. I'll tell you I'm nothing special. But you have those things I talked about at the beginning of the program. You have to feel that way. You have to do that way. You have to understand that to do it. Okay? You have to. But if you do, you can have at least that kind of a success, hopefully better than I've ever been. That's the goal. I want everybody to be better than I've ever been, because it doesn't affect me. I'm doing great. But man, oh man, my heart's going to get big. I'm going to be proud. Walk around saying, look at him knocking it out of the park. I taught him how to do that. So it's not altruistic. It's not, I'm not doing it just for you. I'm doing it really because it makes me feel good. And that's okay. That's okay, because if you're benefiting from it, why does it matter that I do it because it makes me feel good, right? I think a lot of people miss that in life when they argue for altruism and whatnot going on there. Let me see here. Yeah, Link. I talked about Link, that big range it had when and I said we're going to get a spring. I said this is reaccumulation. We're probably going to get a spring down. If you can nail it at around $5 or so, you'd be good to go. It went on just below that, I think $4.90 somewhat cents or something. Saul was the one I did on the Windy O show a couple years back. And I talk about that a lot because, damn it, guys, that was $9. And I got so much out. And sometimes, I'll talk about these in public and I'll get some Yahoo that says, oh, just don't break your arm patting yourself on the back. And it's like, no, I take so much crap when I call these lows and they turn out well. Of course, I'm going to let you know that I got it right. This is my business. I'm teaching you how to do this. Don't you want to know that listen, there is a track record, a public track record? I'm not just saying I did this. It's all out there for you to see, right? So, reply guys. Such a waste of resources, in this computer age. But anyway, that's what I love doing with you guys. I love to teach you because I want you to, because here's the thing. You go, okay, well, if you're so good, why do people stay around for years? Because they love being a part of the community. And they never think they've learned it all. I don't even think I know it all. I'm constantly learning every day. But beyond that, they know by staying in there and helping out new people coming in that have questions and answers, they know that if they can do that and help them like I'm helping them, develop them into better traders, well, now there's another set of eyes. There's tens of thousands of charts out there. We can't find them all. But if we've got more and more people that are doing correctly and sharing what they're finding, all of a sudden everybody wins, right? Sats finds a chart, he posts it, right? And then Vince finds a chart and he posts it. And then Andrew finds a chart and he posts it. And Bamboo finds a chart and he posts it, right? And Soren finds a chart and he posts it, right? And everybody's better off for it. All of a sudden, it becomes this group thing where everybody's making money together. Because we can't possibly find all the trades. I miss trades all the time, guys, because I just can't keep up with them all. There's no way, and you won't be able to either. But why do people stick around? Ask them. That's a big part of it. So anyway, Eric, have a blessed day as well. It's Friday, man. Such a great day. Let me see here. Bamboo said others delete their tweets when they're wrong. Yeah. The only time I think I've ever deleted tweets is when I wrote something that I misspelled. I am such a perfectionist I hate leaving a tweet where a word is misspelled with something like that. But you can find it on the Wayback Machine. I don't believe I've ever deleted a chart where I was wrong or something, because my goal is to give you the honest truth about trading. You're never going to be 100% correct. I don't delete them at the Trading Academy. There's years worth of charts in there. Sometimes they've been incorrect. My goal is to show you that even when you've been doing it for a long time, you're still going to get it wrong, which is why it's so important to do that risk management correctly and to do it consistently all the time. That's why. A great trader isn't somebody who makes 100% of their calls. They're not going to do it. Anybody that tells you that they make 100% or 80% consistently is lying to you. They may do it for a period of time. We all get on those win streaks. We can do it for a period of time. But for most people, you're going to be, once you really truly learn how to trade, you're going to be around 50%, maybe a little bit less. But your risk management, when you limit it to a specific small amount and your wins are always so much greater, you can have less wins than you do losses. You can have more losses than wins. But the holy grail of trading, in case you guys don't know it, is to have more than a 50% win rate, just even slightly. It's like 50.1%. Okay. And your average winner is greater than your average loser. If you can do those two things, your equity curve will look like this. It can't help but not do it. So that's the holy grail of trading. But you can have an equity curve that kind of does like this, right? And that's what a lot of people have. And they'll get a 35 to a 45, 50% win rate for most of the time on average over years. Yeah. Because risk management, let time and compounding build your wealth. You just focus on your system, proper risk management, and consistently locking in profits. If you can do that, time and compounding are going to make you, are going to build up that account to where you want it to get. Okay, guys. Let me see here real quick. I know I'm running out of time. Oh, Jesus, 12:30 already. Let me see here. XRP. Again, triangle. Been talking about it. Got this breakout. This is a new all-time high. This is the Kraken chart, the XRP USD chart on Kraken. I had some Yahoo in my replies on Twitter. No, the all-time high for XRP was 384. I'm like, okay, well, clearly not on this chart or on Bitstamp or a few other charts. But and I told him, I said, but if your chart hasn't hit it yet, it will do soon, because you got the all-time highs, all these other ones, right? Their response, oh my God, was, well, that was from 2018. Did your chart even go back there? I'm like, all you had to do was look at what I posted. You can see it's 2018. It's the swing high. Guys, whatever you do, don't be people like that. It makes people like me embarrassed for you. And there's nothing worse. You know what? People think it's worse to be, the worst thing to be is be embarrassed about something you've done. No, it's a lot worse to know that people are embarrassed for you. Because what that means is you don't even recognize how ridiculous you're being. And you're just continuing on with it. Don't do that. Life's too short. Be nice. Be kind. It really does. This world, so many people are struggling in this world and they haven't figured it out. And governments and corporation things are making life tough. If you're going to say, just be nice. It's really not that difficult. And you know what? You may be the person that somebody needed to be nice that day to them and just change their entire life around. It happens, guys. It happens. You could be responsible for really making somebody's life amazing. Just being there at the absolute time they needed and just saying a kind word. I will never stop telling you guys that. I never will. Okay. Nathan E, what's up? How late are you? I'm about to be done, buddy. That's how late you are. By the way, guys, Nathan is in there in our training academy, and he posted in the gathering room. Check it out if you haven't yet. He posted a message on there about his thoughts about TWC and everything. And he said, listen, if you guys want to talk charts, you don't want to do it out here in public, DM me. Let's talk. Nathan gets it. If you guys want to learn how to do something, discuss it with other people. The more you discuss it, the more you talk about it, the quicker and the easier you learn, the better you learn it. If you just try to do something on yourself, I'm not saying you can't learn it, but it's a lot more difficult. Okay? So, yeah, bombard his DMs. Say, yo, Nathan, what's up, man? See, look, he said, this stuff is great. TWC is amazing. Nathan, again, is somebody else who is newer with us as well. So, again, you don't just hear from people who've been here forever, but you hear from people that are new. Yeah, Mike, check in with the group, man. If you find for some reason that you cannot access it, Mike, because you're still good for years, man. Mike is, man, Mike Lamb, he's such a guy. He took advantage of different specials we had when we had him, and he is like set for life, basically, with TWC access. But if you have any issues with it, send me an email at christopher.inks@texaswestcapital.com, and I will get you sorted, man. Okay? I think you should be perfectly fine, though, but just in case you do find you have some difficulty with access, let me know, okay? Look at Vince. Vince is another one of our head traders. He's another guy like Andrew who came in and was ready to learn, and in less than a year got it all down so well that he became one of our head traders, right? So if you're in the TWC Traders Club, you'll see his Bitcoin analysis. You'll see some of his trades in there. He says, this month I'm at 11 wins and 3 losses, win rate of 78%. And I have no doubt his average winner is better than his average loser, right? So yeah, so I've got this coming up here based on the height of this pullback here. We got a pattern target of $3.77 on this chart. That'll just be wave 5 of 3. We should have a wave 4 pullback and then a wave 5 higher here, which will, break out above $4. So XRP doing XRP things. And Litecoin was one I want to talk about here. Locally, this is the 3-day. We've got a 3-wave pullback here. We've broken out above that second wave. I think this looks to me like we've got a 1 and a 2. So we potentially got 5 waves up here around 169.90. Let me see. Yeah. Actually, let me see here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. Yeah. So 1, 2, we should be headed up there around 169. That's just locally here. That's just locally. We're probably headed up to around $400 on Litecoin, I think. up toward that area. I've been pretty vocal about it. I've talked about Litecoin possibilities on the bigger, the really macro time frame. Just pattern-based targets. Doesn't have to get there, of course. But locally here, we should easily probably hit 400 on that there. Let me see here. Yeah, so that I think that'll probably do it. I don't know, Murray, if you're there, Murray, I'm late, but let me see here. Tell me what chart you wanted to look at, man. I saw you asking about that, and we can check here on it here real quick. If you can get it up there, man. If you can get it up there. What did JoJo say? Haters gonna hate. Keep that ignore button handy. I love JoJo because JoJo, I have figured out is kind of around my age, I guess, because JoJo knows a lot of the old references that I do when it comes to TV or music or TV lines and stuff like that. So yeah. Let me see here. Cookie. Murray, you're saying Cookie? Cookie what? What do you mean, buddy? Is there you talking about a stock called Cookie? You talking about Cookie USDT? Let me see here. I have never even heard of that. I haven't heard of a lot of them, guys. And if you think that makes me a terrible trader, you definitely don't want to be a TWC. But you can give me a chart and I'll figure out what's going to happen with it. Having no clue about what the hell it is or what it does or what it presumes to do or whatever, because you don't need all that information, guys. Don't need that. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, on Bybit. Okay, let me see here. Mr. Smith says there's only 20,000 shitcoins now. only 20,000 shitcoins. Oh, come on. We're in a little trouble here. Okay, there we go. Anybody else use the TradingViews app here instead of doing it in their browser? I didn't do it at first when they first launched it because it was such a resource hog. It's still quite a bit of a resource hog, but not where it used to be. But sometimes we get kind of, we have these issues like we're having it here. Cookie USDT. Oh, that's nice. I like the accumulation range. Let me see. This is the daily. Oh, look at that. Look at how aggressive that was. All the way through the R5 pivot there on the weekly. Look at this volume here. There's this week's closing here. Look at the volume. It's more than last week's volume here with that big, huge candle. So you definitely want to watch that. That's my first thought. Where is this? Is this a swing low? Where's the swing low? See, 1982, 2000 there. Okay, so this is the low here then. So this is a 1 and a 2. Or potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So that gets us a 1 and 2 maybe. Let's see. Man, I don't like that. The being a 1 doesn't make a lot of sense. So there's a lot of volume here. This looks like a wave 3 because of all this volume coming in. And this may be a flat here for 4. Zoom in a little bit more here. Yeah, so this is A, B, C down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C up. Yeah, so this is probably like okay, this looks like a flat correction. This looks like ABC down. It looks like A, B, C up. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Let me make sure though. Wouldn't be there. Yeah, see, it's still going to be too short there. Could be a WXY. So this could be actually be ABC down as W, ABC up as X, and then so WXY here is Y. So yeah, that does look like a flat correction. This is probably a wave 2 pullback here, which means I'd be looking for this probably for a breakout here of this descending resistance. The kind of signal that the low is probably in. We pulled back about 50%. Now, I'm not doing a deep dive on this because I got to get out of here. I'm already late, but we're over 50% of that pullback there. So just based on the height of this overall correction here, you could potentially be looking up toward $1.34.5. From right here, if we're going to get down a little bit further there. Yeah, look at that. 5 waves up from where we're at gets us $1.34. $1.34.5 is the, so it looks like that bottom may be in or just about at 50% pullback there. Zoom this in a bit. So 3 would be up around $1.10, $1.11. Or the pullback there. And of course, this can go higher. This is just based on where we're currently sitting here. But if I were to zoom this in, zoom this chart in for you guys. This looks like an A and a B, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we might have dropped down a little bit more, maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Come down a little bit further. We're just getting into this low volume node. So I think we might have one more slight push down, but I would be looking for an impulsive breakout and close above that descending resistance to kind of suggest that the low is probably in. And then that would have you a wave 3, maybe around $1.10, maybe a little bit less, depending on how far this last bit kind of pulls back there. Okay. So yeah. It's definitely looking pretty decent at the moment here. Yeah, this is like A, B, C, 1, 2, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C, 3, 4, A, B, C, 5. Leading diagonal, just no overlap on it. And then a flat correction here, A down, B up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll get a 5 a little bit lower here. Probably around that 48-cent area, maybe. Maybe even right here around the 61.8 at 47.5. And then look for that rally through that descending resistance, and that'll get you up there. Okay. So there you go. And let me see here. Hey, Sing, can I take you high? Can you take me higher? I read that and right in my head. I can hear it in my head. 80s rock, man. Was that Damn Yankees? Is that who that was? It's been so long since I've heard. So anyway. Oh, Nathan, man. Congrats. I just saw you say your wife is having your baby tomorrow. Congratulations, man. That's freaking fantastic. Love hearing that. All right, listen, guys. That's it. Oh, was it Creed? No, that wasn't Creed. I don't know what you're saying there. All right, guys, listen. I am going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys joining in with me. And, I really, really, really hope that you got a lot out of like especially the first half hour. that stuff I talked about then and what I mentioned then is so much more important than the learning how to do Elliott wave and Wyckoff and all that, because you can learn all these other things, as I said earlier, but if you don't have that understanding that I mentioned at the beginning, if you're not really there, it doesn't matter how well you know this stuff. You won't follow the rules. You won't follow the guidelines. You won't do the things that you have to do to be successful with it. Okay, so stop believing everybody that says this indicator is going to change your life, or this you can learn to trade in 5 minutes a day and it'll change your life. Don't listen to people. It's lies, guys. They tell you that because you want to hear that and you're willing to pay them for that. And then you end up really upset about it. But also, don't join the TWC Trading Academy unless you're serious about learning. Otherwise, it's just a waste of money. And it's the way it is. I'd love to have you there. I have made so many great friends over the last few years doing this. And it's really taken me from, I used to trade alone for most of my life, right? Into this community now that we have. And it's a lot of work on my end, but God, the people I've met there have been so great. Diego and Mark and Soren and Vince and, Nathan and Data and everybody here, right? It's been amazing, and it makes trading that much more fun. I mean, everybody loves to make money, and making money's fun, but when you can make money with a group of people and you're all kind of, there to pat each other on the back and to help each other out and to get better. I can't even say it. Iron sharpens iron, right? You guys heard that, right? You understand what I'm saying? It really is true, especially in trading. So, I'd love to have you there, and you can join us at texaswestcapital.com. But truthfully, if you're not really serious about learning, that's okay. That's okay. But don't waste your money. Not with me, not with anybody else. Because that's all it's going to be. And then you're going to become jaded and you're going to think it doesn't actually work and that it's no good and all this other stuff. And you'll never actually get to experience how great, trading is as a thing that you can do. I really believe it is. It's given me everything I have. Again, I didn't come from a wealthy family or anything. Came from a military family. That was it. And so I've had to put a lot of work and effort. By the way, don't think any of these things I talk about, don't think I'm just saying them. They're exactly the same things I had to do, and I had to understand and overcome and recognize and realize and all those things. So I've done the work. It's your turn to do the work on yourself. And in trading. And life is going to be so much different if you do, I promise you. No matter how good it is now, it's going to be infinitely better. And if you kind of struggle a little bit in life right now and, just feeling a little run down and not understanding things that are happening the way they are, listen to what I said at the beginning of the first 30 minutes of this show today. Really take it in, think about it, mull over it if it doesn't hit you right away. Because when it does hit you, it's going to completely change the way you look at everything in your life. And trading, it's going to definitely change the way you look at trading. All right? All right, guys. Let's see, look at the great guys here. Sign up for TWC. So worth it. You have to work it, though. Yep. Changing my life and helping me make my money. Changing our lives over in Canada from Texas. For sure. For sure. Vince here. Vince has got such a sexy picture, doesn't he? Make all that hair going over there. Get the beard going on. Yeah, not me. Not me. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Seriously. Thank you for showing up as always. Remember, the only thing you control is how much you lose. So please keep working on that risk management. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, okay? Remember, whether you're, whatever's going on with politics, whether you're for Trump or against Trump or whatever, listen, at the end of the day, I promise you, nobody in government, nobody anywhere in this world cares more about you and your family than you. Nobody comes close. So you do the things that you need to do to make sure that yourself and your family are taken care of. First and foremost. Okay? That's on you. And if you're, I'm very passionate about, masculine and feminine roles and whatnot. And so, guys, I'm talking to you right here. You should be the head of your family. Life should be all about dealing with the stress and everything so the rest of your family doesn't have to. And I say this as a guy that takes care of my mother, my sister, my nephew, of course, my son, right? And a special other person in their family. I do have a special other person. I take care of her and her family as well. And I do everything I can to make sure as much of that stress is on me and not on them. So again, I don't say this just to say it. I say this because I firmly believe it. So trading can do just so much for your life, but you've got to work it, guys. You got to be willing to do what you got to do, okay? All right, guys. I'm out of here. If you do happen to join the Trading Academy, please take a moment in a chat somewhere and just introduce yourself. Say hi. You're going to have 10, 15 people coming up to you pretty quickly saying hi, and they love it because we have hundreds of people there. Very few people actually interact. And so the ones that do get really excited when new people come in and they interact, and they make them feel really welcome and do all those things. Okay. Darian agreeing. I love to see that agree there. Troy, I appreciate you as always, and everybody else. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to stop dragging this on. You guys that know me know I kind of, when I do these streams that are live with you guys, whether it's here or elsewhere, I always feel like we're kind of sitting around a campfire talking, and I don't want to go, but I have to go. Okay. And he's putting it out there. He says your guys are going to be hearing more from him starting sometime next week at TWC, of course. So we got to keep him to his word there. All right. Living life. Take care. Everybody else as well. And man, hopefully this went through the entire time for Instagram. And you know what? Don't forget Beards and Bitcoin next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, same channels and everything. And you can see me, of course, having our discussions and our good times there with the guys from Arch Public, Andrew and Tillman. And that's been a lot of fun in the week as well. So take care, everybody.